Just behind me here, this is a site called the Sprove Dolmen on the Isle of Møn in Denmark, at the very kind of south part of eastern Denmark. Now this is part of a complex of many sites. Down in the woods, just 500 meters from here, there's other dolmens. There was a whole, basically it's a whole kind of dolmen barrow cemetery that stretches for many miles. And it's right, only about 150 meters away from the great chamber, Kong Asgers Høj it's called, which we're going to have a look at in a moment, but basically it's over in that direction behind me, just over the hill there. But this is a beautiful little dolmen. I think it's been partly reconstructed, but you can clearly see it's quite a piece of work, and it would have been covered with a mound like many of the other ones are. But it's got this beautiful avenue going in, and it's got a whole sort of almost like a stone circle around it as well. And there's been some interesting light effects that were spotted as well. I believe there's a carving on top of this one, which we're going to have a look at. But this goes back to at least 5,000 years ago, 3000 BC or even older, and just proves that Denmark was a rich megalithic culture going back to the Neolithic, through the Bronze Age and right up to the time of the Vikings. So you can see it's not that big, it's not huge, it's probably like 30 feet wide, this is probably 7 or 8 feet tall, but it's got this beautiful circular outer stone circle as such, and also like a kind of stone circle inside it holding up the dolmen. And we saw that at the previous site down in the Isle of Møn. So you can see the main dolmen just on top there, beautifully put together, and then we have these ones around the edge, which are equally interesting. You can see the glistening red granite just at the back of this dolmen here. Absolutely amazing. I believe on top here there are some carvings. If you look here, you can clearly see some kind of triangles cut out in the rock. Now this is on the board, but it's all in Danish, so I'm not sure exactly if these are ancient or if they're modern. But it's interesting because that triangle just there, the one at the top there, and this one here, if we go inside now, you can actually see, if the sun stays out, if we go inside now, you can see that triangles are created in the gaps between the upright stones. You can see there's these huge rocks, uprights, all leaning inwards, holding up the main capstones. Looks like there's two of them actually. What a beautiful, beautiful sight this is. I'm just walking back down the main passage going into the chamber, just to give you a sense of the sort of sacred space it's built within. And then around the edge we have almost like a stone circle really. It's really quite stunning, stunningly beautiful sight. I've got some beautiful aerial shots, some film footage from the air, so you can get a sense of the greater landscape. So this is Kong Asgers Høj. Now this is an amazing site. It's got a deep burial chamber that goes into the earth, subterranean. So I'll just seeing the view from here. You can't quite see the Sprove Dolmen from here, but it's got a beautiful view of the landscape with hundreds of mounds and burials and stones, dolmens and other things were in this area. So let's take a look inside. So we're just about to go into Kong Asgers Høj burial chamber. This is part of a greater complex. There's the Sprove Dolmen, there's another dolmen further down in the woods, and in prehistoric times, probably going back to around 2500 to 3000 BC. there were many of these. This whole landscape was like a sacred landscape for the dead and for the living. And so this is the prime site, one of the most impressive burial chambers in the whole of Scandinavia. And even though it's got a small entrance and it doesn't look much bigger than any other site really from the outside, apparently when you go in it's really quite spectacular. Right, so we've got the main capstone here, which is still embedded within the site itself. Let's try and get through here without getting on my knees. Yeah, it's a very low. Oh, this first part's lower. Actually, that's interesting. It's got a shaped part here. If we continue inwards, you can see it's obviously got damp in here. There are some kind of carvings on some of the stones. Could be runic carvings that were done later, even up there as well. But as we get inside, we see that you can't quite stand up, but that's the way in. It's quite a long entrance, probably about 40 feet long, and this is the main chamber. Let's get the lights turned on. So it's pretty amazing to be inside this particular dolmen. It's a really beautiful one. Quite an amazing view. It actually goes out onto a hill. So it's interesting the alignment here, whether it's actually astronomical, whether it's more ceremonial. We have this classic T shape, comes in from the entrance and the left and right like the top of a T, and really is quite stunning. And it kind of goes down slightly into the ground, so you get a sense, you don't get the sense of the size from the outside, but you do from here. So let's get outside and let's have a look around, see what else we can find in the landscape. You have to crouch down very low to get in and out of this place. Crikey. And we're out.